What's up guys, this is LBT from Combat Culture. Today we've got a really cool video where we're going to cover the basics of clinching. We're going to cover hand grips, different knees, things to do and avoid, and basic defense. And helping us today with our Clinch 101 is Kru Rob.
So I got first things first. So what we're going to talk about is a basic grip. It's normally referred to as the plum, full-type plum, the basic grips that you're going to need. Now, with Albie and Anna facing each other, okay, so Anna is going to feed. So as always, what we want to try to do is, you always want to start off in your stance, all right? So your fighter stance. Okay, so this is actually pretty important to understand. With the fighter stance, the guard is up, right? So what Anna has to do is, she has to thread the needle or feed through his guard to get her first hook in, or her first arm. So that's generally speaking, it would be her lead. Now, when this happens, a couple other things happen as well. I said to say to get into your stance. Now, you're going to use your stance to move into the clinch position, but as always, you have to adjust the stance correctly. As what Anna did right there is that you have to adjust your feet directly underneath your hips or underneath your shoulder line. And this is what's really important that people need to understand. So now, once she entered in with her first hook, then she's going to come in, and then she's going to use her other hook to bring around the back of Albie's neck. So now, always it's going to be right over left or left over right on the base of the neck, trying to hold the head in position. Not always necessarily pulling down, because people, when they don't understand this concept, they're just going to pull down really hard on that person's neck, and then end up, giving that person neck sore the next day and stuff. So what we try to do is emphasize just position left over right, right over left at the base of the neck on the other person holding this grip. And then also, her feet are in line directly underneath her hips, directly underneath her shoulder. Her back is straight up, and as much as possible, the hips are in close. Okay? Now, the reason why we say this is because whenever there is space in between, somebody's going to be throwing a knee. And if it's not the person that has the full grip, then it's going to be the other person, all right? So as always, what we want to try to do is, you want to secure this grip first, and then you want to have the hips in close, and you want to have your feet directly underneath your hip line. All right, so this is the foundation. This is what helps set everything up from this point going forward. So now, if you're going to teach this, if you're going to show this to other people, a beginner, etc., or just having people drill this, what you want to do is let's break, okay? And then always start with the basic entry. Again, everybody starts in guard. Okay, so she's going to feed the first hook, then the second hook, then she makes the correction with her stance. Okay, so now we're going to break again. Now you can do this like 2 times, and then the other side. So Albie will feed. Okay, so he steps in with his lead, good, and then he makes the adjustment with his feet down below. And he's got the hands, the grips on the base of the neck to the top of the head. Now what's really important about this also, what Anna's doing here is, notice how the posture, she's keeping her posture upright. So you want to make sure that you keep your posture upright as well, because the second that you adjust your spine and then kind of let this happen, now what you're doing is you're giving that person the position. You're giving them all of that pressure on the back of the neck. And it's not good for you to learn how to do this, in the beginning. So what you should always do is when you walk in, always try to have straight spine, straight back. Okay? And then when we separate again, now you can actually do a drill from this position. Start off with the guard up nice and high. Okay? So now what Anna's going to do is she's going to feed first. Okay? She feeds, steps in, stays here. Okay, so now the objective of the drill is for Albie to swim or feed his hand underneath her guard, through her guard, so he gets the one hook, then the second hook. Now from this position, now what Anna's going to do is she's going to do the same thing. She's going to swim her arms through so that she can also get that position. Now the important thing is that you're not offering resistance. So right now this drill is just practicing the entry, right, and the swimming technique from the outside to the inside. Good. All right, so now we break. Now, you can build on that by just doing this without even having to do any knee strikes or whatever. It's just making sure that you have the grips up top, trying to prevent them from actually getting the grips, and you can always try to work on that as the objective. So that's just one thing that you can do. Now what we want to do is we want to go into the focus of throwing the knee. In order to throw the knees, okay, so what's really important, remember what we got done saying is you always want to have the hips in close because you don't want the other person to throw that knee, so that's why you want to keep your hips in close. However, when you're ready to throw yours, you need to create that space so that you can throw the knee. The most important thing is that when you're getting ready to throw that knee, you want to use your hips and you want to like move everything back at the same time. So now, what Anna did was she moved her hip and she moved one of her legs back because this is what she wants to prep to throw this knee. Maybe it's this knee, and if she resets, maybe she wants to throw the other knee, right? So she does the same thing, okay? Now, when she does this, she's also going to have her grips nice and strong here. Kind of also, now that's when she's going to put a little bit of the pressure on so that she gets this curvature of Albie turning toward like these. Got this curve, there we go. So it's kind of turned in a little bit because she's putting all of her weight and all of her strength up top to set this knee up. Now, the first knee that we teach it's called the number 1 knee, and it goes straight up. Now, this is you want to be really careful with this one because this goes straight up to the face. So what we try to do is we try and really not to throw this too hard or too fast. All you're doing is you're just trying to get that knee up, right? That's what you're trying to do. The second knee is a long knee. It's called the number 2 knee. It's a long knee, so you want to use the hip and drive the knee forward. So again, she's going to have that space to the back, right? So that it sets the knee, comes straight up. Number 3 knee, this is kind of it's called a round knee. So the way that this knee works is that you use your hip, you open this up, and you're using the inside of the thigh to try to get to the intercostals here on this body. So now to throw that, exactly what she did, you can actually throw this like when you move the hips in close, right? You can actually, if you sway back and forth, left to the right, you'll be able to get the intercostals this way. The number 4 knee. Number 4 knee it's called a diagonal knee. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to strike with the top part of the leg. Think of a roundhouse kick, but you're not really you're not trying to make contact with the shin. What you're trying to do is you're making contact here and you're driving it as an angle. So it's a diagonal knee. Like flaring outward this way and she's trying to throw this whole side into the body. First knee is going straight up. Good. Second knee goes forward. It's a long knee. Good. Number 3 knee is right, it's the round knee, and then number 4 knee is the diagonal, just like that. So now what we want to go over is the basic defense, all right? So again, really basic, nothing too elaborate or complicated. It's something that I try to show all the fighters here, the guys that are training all the time when they're working clinch, to always never forget this from the very, very beginning. We'll have Albie feed the full Thai clinch, so he has this here. Now, person's got really, really strong grips, and they've got real good, strong control, and you've got no way out. You start to panic. Well, as always, don't panic, right? And just all you have to do is remember the one basic one that you have to always remember. Both hands over the top of the guard, palms facing outward, right? Left over right or right over left. You want to try to find the throat, the nose, the chin, or the eyes. And what you want to do is extend, push, and then just basically walk and push them off. This is the basic way of getting the person off of you. This can actually be used in a very, very complex series of techniques. As long as you understand this, both hands over the top, left over right, right over left, and just push. You get this down, and everything else will fall into place.
Cool. So, Kru Rob, those are some of the basics of clinching, like things you teach your students on day 1. The main takeaways of this video, what are some things to do and main things to not do?
One of the main things is whenever you're learning or you're drilling, try to be as flexible as possible. Flexible as far as physically is concerned. So you don't want to be so rigid and so tight. You kind of want to be able to move with your partner so that you learn and understand. Because again, it's a whole series of things that are happening with your upper body, trap line, your neck, your head. You're going to feel all this tomorrow morning. When you're trying to work on your escapes, like one hand over the other, left over right, right over left, when you're trying to get the person off of you, remember to go both hands over the top. Also, as I had mentioned earlier, try to be flexible with your partner. Try not to be so stiff in the sense that you're offering a lot of resistance or the other person's offering a lot of resistance, because in the end, what's going to happen is that somebody could just get hurt from just like trying to offer too much resistance when you're trying to drill this the first time. The other thing also is position. When you step in for clinch, remember, try to work in both legs directly underneath your hips. It's your stance completely changes. You want to learn how to clinch. You want to learn how to move it to the next level as far as setting up sweeps, setting up traps, all these other things. Remember, you have to move into the stance. right? So it's no longer your fighter stance, left foot back or right foot back. Now it's both feet are directly underneath your hip line, your shoulders, and this will help set up a lot of the different techniques that you're going to need to learn doing the clinch.
Well, hopefully that video helps you guys to not be as intimidated with the clinch game, because I know it's something that was very intimidating for me when I first started Muay Thai. I do want to thank Kru Rob for helping out with the video today. Kru Rob, where can our viewers find you?
So my school, Square Circle, New York, is located in Lower Manhattan, right on Fulton Street and Nassau Street.
And we are going to be coming out with more videos with Kru Rob, with more intermediate and advanced clinch videos. We're going to go over sweeps, dumps, and defenses for those things, right? But until next time, keep training, stay healthy, and be safe. Thank you guys.